Hey, hi there. Welcome once again. Didn't think you were getting off this lucky, did you? No, here we are once again with He Loves Me from Wayne Jacobson. We are going into chapter 4. So, I guess this is our fourth installment in this, eh? Well, I know. Smart, eh? Kidneys in here, I tell ya. Anyways, we're going to jump into things here. This week, the author is focusing on, well, it's probably my favorite parable in the Bible, in the New Testament, and it's frequently referred to as the story of the prodigal son, which is actually not exactly true, because especially once you read it and you take stock of it and you take a look at things, it's actually not about the son at all. It's actually about the father in the story. I kid you not. I mean, we can all relate, if you're familiar with the story at all, you can relate to the son, but it's the father that it's about. And this is what Jesus is trying to relay to us. So, without further ado here, we'll jump right in. The story, if you know it or don't know it, starts off with a young fella. We don't really know how old, but I mean, he's old enough to go out on his own. And he lives and works on his father's estate, him and his older brother. And he walks up to his father and says, I want my money, give me my inheritance, I'm out of here. So, not really a great start. I mean, this is, and now this is a culture, of course, in which, dad passes away, that gets divided up amongst the kids and whatnot. So he has, in essence, walked up and said, you know what, I'm tired of waiting for you to die, you old fool, give me my money, I'm out of here. Now, I don't know if about you, but if one of my kids walked up to me and said that, there's going to be a problem. Probably a pretty good one. But that's not what happened. What actually ends up happening is that the father gives it to him. And I mean, the father knows he's irresponsible, and he knows he's not up to anything good, but says, yep, sure, here you go. Splits the estate in half. Not just, just his little portion, just like if it was worth 50 million, he gave him 25, and off you go. And that's what he does. And the son leaves, and he does just anything and everything absolutely horrible, at least as far as the culture at the time, and even today would be considered pretty rough. He goes out and he wastes his money. He just, does the party live like a rock star kind of a thing, right? There's women and there's booze, and there's this and there's that and everything else. Unfortunately, when you have a big purse full of money and you're not bringing any money in, eventually the purse dries up, and this is what happened. And he ended up running out of money. Famine struck. He ended up working for a farmer in some distant land feeding pigs, and if you know anything about the Jewish culture at the time, this is an unclean animal and stuff. They wouldn't, this is pretty far down the line. Eventually in the story comes to the point where our wayward son here realizes that, even, the slaves on Dad's farm have it better than this. I mean, he's looking at the food that he's feeding the pigs, and he's thinking how yummy it would be, and he can't even have that. So, I mean, he's pretty far gone. And he makes the decision to return home. Now, I don't know about you, but, I mean, if it were me doing it, you know what he's doing, right? The whole way home, he's walking, he's practicing. Oh, I'm not worthy. Oh, please, no, that's not going to. Oh, Father, how I love you. He's going through trying to get it right, as he goes. When he gets a bit of a shock, he, as he gets, sort of within eye shot of the house. Now, we're not talking like 50 feet or so. We're talking probably a few hundred meters or so away. Maybe farther, don't know. Depends on how good your eyes are. But as he gets in the eye shot of the place, a strange thing happens. The father in the story, whom we haven't heard from for a while, spies him a long ways off as he's coming. And in order for him to spy him as he's coming, that means he's been waiting. He's been watching, right? It's like if you're waiting for a drive to the store to show up, you don't accidentally kind of see them show up. You see them coming because you're watching for them. Well, he's watching for him, and he takes off on a run. Now, older gentlemen in this culture did not run. If something was going to eat you, you might run. But other than that, you didn't run. Because, I mean, they wore the long robes and whatnot, right? So in order to run, he had to hop in like a giant diaper kind of a thing and go flying down the road. And this is what this guy did. You know, servants in tow running behind him. Hey, where you going? You know, whatever. And he gets there, and as soon as he gets to the sun starts. He's got it rehearsed. Oh, Father, I have, and he doesn't even get halfway through. Dad's got him, and he doesn't grab him, he doesn't slap him, he doesn't smack him, he doesn't kick him. He doesn't say, I told you so. He grabs him, picks him up in his arms, wraps his arms around him. You know, now, I mean, he's pretty filthy and whatnot. And remember, we're going with a place that's heavy on the clean, unclean ceremonial thing. And jerks him up in the air, hugs him, kisses him and stuff, you know, sets him down, you know, oh, I'm so happy you're home. Been waiting for you. I'm so happy you're home. You're finally back. And he has the servants, and he tells the servants, go out and get the best robe and bring it out to him. Now, the best robe in the house would be whose? It'd be Dad's, right? It'd be the father's. Wouldn't be the son's best robe that he had left behind, because he took everything. You know, brings the father's own best robe, wraps it around, puts sandals on his feet, you know, because, I mean, sandals were meant for family, not for servants. You know, bring out, you know, get the family ring. Give me the ring. He puts the ring on his finger. Now, the ring on that finger isn't like just jewelry. It's basically the family credit card. That gives him, like, if he just took $25 million a few years ago and took off, he's got access to the other 25 completely without reservation right now, just with that ring on his finger. He can empty the family accounts and go back out again, just like that. But, I mean, there's no chastisement, there's no rebuking, there's no nothing. He just accepts him fully and wholly right where he is, completely, like everything is forgiven. They, you know, go out and grab the fatted calf, we're having a party, my son is home. What kind of dad is that? I mean, really, honestly. And this is the point the author makes in the book, is what kind of dad is that does that? I mean, everything that you and I would do, he doesn't do. Like, honestly. I mean, like, even like they say, like with the family ring and stuff, there's no, okay, you have access to this amount per week and you earn your way up. No, full access right away, as if nothing had ever happened. You know, that's but the author also makes the point about, you know, at no point in time did Dad stop him. You know, the father knew when he asked, you know, I wish you were dead, give me the money, type of thing, that he wasn't up to anything good. He didn't say, no, right? I mean, he knew the famine hit. He didn't run out and go looking for him. He knew that, you know, people were in trouble. He didn't go out and try to find them. Instead, he sat home and he waited and he watched. And, you know, that seems like sort of counterproductive to somebody who's loving, but unless there's more to it than just, you know, it's hard when you're a parent sometimes. You watch your kids do something and you know they're screwing it up. But sometimes you have to so that they learn something. This is part of it. The other part of it is that the entire time the son was loved as unconditionally at the start of the story as he is at the end. He just doesn't realize it. You know? He just sees Dad as a means to an end, right? But that's not who he is. But we also there's another brother that gets mentioned, the older brother, because he's not talked about much in this. And he's pretty ticked off that they've given this party for this, you know, whatever, that just, you know, came wandering back in after he's been there slaving and working away. He views his father as a taskmaster, somebody he has to obey, somebody he has to, you know, do things in order to try to live. The author here, I'll quote here, we spend most of our lives are spent living and feeling less loved. When we worry that God will ask us for some horrible sacrifice, we feel less loved. When we indulge ourselves in our own desires and whatnot, we live less loved. We give in to anxieties and the crush of our circumstances, we live less loved. We try to earn God's favor by our own efforts, we live less loved. Even when we get caught up in religious obligations to try to make ourselves acceptable to Him, we live less loved. And this is the story of the older brother. He had stayed with his father because he thought he had to. He did everything he thought he was supposed to. He did everything to try to earn it, to try to be worthy of it. But he had the same unconditional love available to him that the other son's experiencing right now, and he didn't realize it. And at the end of the story, he still hasn't realized it because he's still standing on the outside looking in. And he's given a choice. You know, you can come in and join and be a part of everything or not, but it's still your choice. You know? Anyways, that is, in a nutshell, the story of the prodigal son. And like I say, it's actually all about the dad. It's all about the father and, you know, what the father is willing to do and what he's willing to give up. And I mean, he, you know, in order to achieve that, have his sons know how much he loved them, he was willing to, you know, put them in a position where they hate him. You know, he was willing to give everything up just to have that relationship with them, for them to know who he really was. It's kind of cool. I'm not sure if you ever thought of it that way, but there it is. Anyways, we have some questions at the end. It says, ask God to show you where you live and feel less loved. And what does it make you do? Do you run away like the younger brother or work even harder like the older one? God wants you to know that there is nothing you can do to make him love you any more today, and nothing you can do that will make him love you any less. He just loves you. Period. Anyways, that was chapter 4. We're getting there, slowly but surely. I'm not sure how many chapters are in this, but it looks like a bunch. Anyways, I hope you are having a good day wherever you are, whatever's going on. Like I say, we are all in this together. Anyways, take care. God bless. We're out.